Hello and welcome to this week's race at the Nashville Superspeedway for the nr2003, 2007, but it follows the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Kurt Busch has put it up on the pole position with Jimmie Johnson next to him. But before we do get into the full starting lineup, let's take a look at the point standings so you can see where your favorite driver stacks up as we head closer to the chase. Making up row number 1, you have Kurt Busch next to Jimmie Johnson and Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth lining up in row 2. Row number 3 consists of Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch, and row 4 consists of Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. Row 5 is Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and row 6 contains a few surprises, Elliott Sadler and David Stremme. Ryan Newman and Clint Boyer line up in row number 7 with Jeff Burton and J.J. Yeley, who had a great run last week going until he got wrecked, in row number 8. Denny Hamlin and Casey Mears make up row number 9, with Bobby Labonte and Greg Biffle in row number 10. Juan Pablo Montoya and Mark Martin make up row number 11, with Paul Menard and Casey Kane in row number 12. David Gilliland, who has been free-falling through the points, lines up next to Reed Sorensen in row number 13, with Robbie Gordon and Jamie McMurray in row number 14. Row number 15 consists of Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd, and row number 16 consists of Tony Raines and Johnny Sauter. Behind them, you have Jeff Green and Brian Vickers, and Scott Riggs and Dave Blaney behind them. David Rain with another poor qualifying effort. He lines up next to Kevin LePage, and row 20 consists of Joe Nemechek and Sterling Marlin. And rounding out the field again, it's only 42 cars this week because that's just how the track is in this game. It just completely crashes the game if there's 43 cars. But AJ Allmendinger and Dale Jarrett round out the field. Well, with that out of the way, why don't we go down the track side to get the command to fire up these engines.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the engines are fired up here from Nashville. Had to cut the clip there for a second because I had forgotten to enable better cautions. But there you see Kurt Busch and Jimmie Johnson and the whole field rolling off of pit road, so everyone will see the green flag. Stages 37, 92, and then 150 laps to the checkered flag. The top lane is the preferred lane around here. Well, not the very top lane next to the wall. That middle groove that you see all the cars rolling through right now. But the bottom can work if you drive it in hard enough. Track position is very important around here. And now we're about halfway to the chase. Who's going to make it in? Who's going to be able to get hot at the right time? Jimmie Johnson and Kurt Busch line up on the front row. First race with TNT, which you'll see in a second. Green flag in the air, we're racing in Nashville. Already up to turn 1. Kurt Busch with the jump. Carl Edwards actually slides into second behind him as Johnson battles Tony Stewart for third. Now you see Martin Truex Jr. making it free wide. Johnson up the hill. It's a bad start for 28. The top doesn't really come in until the second or third lap of a run. As you see, TNT ticker up here for your viewing pleasures. But there you see Stewart. He gets the run through 1 and 2. It just depends how you run the line. But Jimmie Johnson has slipped back several spots. Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards lead the field right now. As the field runs free wide further back, Johnson and Earnhardt Jr. side by side. It's a terrible start for last week's winner. Johnson trying to get Newman to drive it in just a little bit deep so he can maybe clear this 43 off turn 2. Newman loses the spot to Jr., but Johnson clears Labonte off turn number 2. You see these guys running towards the top lane as Kurt Busch starts to scoot away with the race lead, and Jeff Gordon has an issue. The bad luck of this season continues for the 24 car. Some sort of issue on the 24 of Gordon. an oil leak in the 24 car. Is this the end of his race already? Jeff Gordon crawls down the pit road. And he's going to lose a lap from this for sure. I'm not sure how many laps he'll lose from this, but there's his first lap gone as Kurt Busch crosses the line. Look at Elliott Sadler here running in 8th as Denny Hamlin tries to make a move on Jeff Burton, but Burton's going to get that run off turn 2. Montoya working on Bonnie on the inside though, and he's showing that the inside lane can work. Earnhardt Jr. way out the racetrack, but can he get onto an exit to stay ahead of this 42 of Montoya? Yes, he can, and Jeff Gordon has come off of pit road, but he is 1 lap down, and it's going to be a very uphill climb for him, especially when they get to these lap cars. Joe Nemechek, AJ Allmendinger, all of them, because then Gordon has to go past them. McMurray struggling in 24th, David Gilliland right here in 23rd. But now Truex has gotten by Carl Edwards for the 2nd spot. It's harder to pass when you get closer to the front, and you see Burton side by side with Sadler for 8th. Easily takes the way there on the bottom. Now here comes Hamlin. Sadler overdrove that corner a little bit, and there's Johnson in 11th. Hamlin also able to take the spot away from Sadler, who slots into 10th. May not have that much longer, and here's Busch to the inside of Tony Stewart. He's trying to take the 4th spot away from the 20. He's going to try to stay inside off turn number 2. But that run Stewart gets is very good, and the 5 thinks about staying low in the 3. Can't really get much of a run though. Harvick way up the racetrack after a little bit of an arrow push from Matt Kenseth. But he's going to stay side by side with Burton down the front straightaway. We got a battle for 10th place. There was Johnson, who had a horrible start to this race. Next to Sadler, he's trying to make quick work of the 19, and does. He clears for the 10th spot, and Burton gets by Harvick. You're not seeing that top lane go away. I think it's just how much speed everyone's carrying. Labonte has slid back to outside of the top 20. And McMurray's made up a few spots. David Stremme, who had gotten a good starting position, he's fallen back 7 spots to outside of the top 20. Jeff Gordon has caught his back end of the field, but he'll have to go up and pass them again if they get lapped, if we don't see a caution before then. But Gordon, you see, is so much faster. They changed the tires on that 24 car when he did have to pit. So Gordon just picking these guys off. There's Kevin LePage in the 37 car. He did quite a good result at Texas when we had a bunch of those wrecks. But with how the things are going right now, this could be the first race of the season that doesn't see a ton of wrecks. Like Charlotte had a bunch of solid-sized wrecks. So did Texas, Watkins Glen, you saw a bunch of wrecks. Dover, you saw them crashing, even for a non-point race. Here's Martin Truex Jr. to the inside of Kurt Busch. Truex, new leader, the first lead change of the night. And Busch got a weird angle there off turn number 4. So Busch is going to be battling Edwards side by side down the front straightaway. 3 wide for 2nd. And is Stewart going to get a 2 for 1, or is Kurt Busch going to hang tough on the outside? 3 wide down the back straightaway. Edwards still on Stewart's quarter. But Kenseth goes with Stewart, and now Edwards under fire from Kurt Busch. And that's allowed Truex to get away. You see Johnson running a little up the racetrack, trying to get around on Harvick for the 9th position. And the top 19 pretty much a gap of everyone, and then you still have your groups running around close to each other. Kyle Busch next to Kurt Busch. Kurt has been in a free fall since losing the but he's trying to use the top side. But again, it looks like the top side goes away on these older tires. So there's not much that the two could do. We'll see what happens with Harvick and Johnson. Is Johnson going to get clear here for 1 and 2? Harvick drives it in on the top side, but those tires are worn out, so the 29 has less grip. And you look back through the field, like the Owen of Mark Martin, he uses the exit of the corner to get next to the 96, and he'll get clear of him in the 3 and 4. There you see the 24, continuing to pass through the field. He's running 29 threes, and these guys at the front are running 29 twos. So 24 car has pace with these leaders. I don't know. It appears they didn't change the tires. As you see Matt Kenseth battling with Tony Stewart for the second spot. Can Stewart hang on to it on the top side? Or has the grip just truly gone away on this top side on these old, worn-out tires? Casey Mears running down to Elliott Sadler for the 11th spot. And you see these guys that didn't get great starting spots starting to come back through the field as tires have fallen off about 1.2 seconds. Similar tire wear to what we saw at Charlotte last time out. Well, Charlotte had a much drastic fall off. We would have been at like 3 seconds of fall off if we were at Charlotte still. But you know what I mean, it's a similar tire that was brought as Truex has been run down for the race lead by Matt Kenseth. Johnson has been trying to get into the top 5 behind Burton for 6. Mears trying to size up on Elliott Sadler. Kurt Busch looking low on Harvick for the 9th spot. Busch led the early stages of this race. He looks low on Harvick. Harvick clears, chucks down across the nose of Kurt Busch, and that's actually for 12th spot because Dale Jr. is in 11th, referring to the battle between Mears and Sadler. Johnson looked a little on Burton, couldn't quite get there. Hamlin's going to roll the top, also can't really do anything with that. Kurt Busch is maybe going to take another shot at Kevin Harvick though for the 9th spot. JJ Yaley, who had a good run last time out until he got wrecked by race leader Martin Truex Jr., is running 16th, and we got a battle for the lead. Battle for the race lead. Truex out of the throttle. Kenseth side by side with him. The new leader, Matt Kenseth, second lead change of the night. And it'll be interesting to see if they decide to pit here under green. But you see, they just cannot make this top groove work on older tire. Here's Kurt Busch next to Harvick. Can Harvick use that top side to remain clear of the two? Yes, he can. And they're in traffic here at the front now. You see the 84 of Allmendinger sliding up. Kenseth got way held up. He had to check up because the 84 was sliding up the racetrack. Now he needs to find a way down low. Stewart up the racetrack now. Truex is going to look to his inside down the front straightaway. Stewart up high. He's going to be able to clear Martin Truex Jr., who had maybe a fender inside, and Jeff Gordon in his climb, trying to manually unlock himself, has gone up to one of the 21st places running. Jeff Burton flies by Jimmy Johnson, who gets stuck behind the 84 of Allmendinger. Truex and Kenseth battle side by side now, but will the 44th Dale Jarrett impede their battle? Yes, he will, because Truex has to check up for him. He's going to get slowed up, and now he's going to go low. And it must be frustrating for them as the tires have fallen off 2.2 seconds now. as we're about 25 laps in. And it's a long run to the checker here when we get to the end of this race. Kenseth way up the hill. Here comes Truex to the inside. And the one's probably going to be clear by the time they get to turn 3. A big mistake by the 17 there. I don't know what happened. Looks like he just overdrove the exit. But the top seems to work somewhat there for 3 and 4, as you saw Kenseth still able to use it to get the run off ahead of that. But for some reason, it just is not as good as it was in 1 and 2. As they get by the 14 of Sterling Marlin to put him a lap down. Truex way up the racetrack there on the exit of 2. Stewart has extended his gap to about 0.7 seconds, or 7/10 seconds. The story still to watch is if Jeff Gordon can get himself in the free pass position before the yellow flag for the stage on lap number 37, which is about 10 laps away. I think he might be waiting until lap 92, because I don't think that Kevin or Page is going to fall that far back with Kyle Petty or Brian Vickers. Johnny Sauter up here in the 70 car had a bit of trouble making these Gen 4 races at the start of the season. Hasn't been able to qualify into more of them. And there's his teammate Jeff Green right in front of him. Robbie Gordon way up the racetrack, and Stremme is back to 30th. So Stremme, who was celebrating a great qualifying effort, he qualified 12th, has fallen way back. Up here at the front, Stewart trying to find a way around LePage and Vickers. He looks low on 37 and gets clear pretty easily. Now if we go to the garage, 75 laps, but obviously divide that by 2, and that's about when you'll see these guys pit. So if we open our calculator, the first stage right here ends right around where a fuel window would end. But we will see them pit under green during stage number 2. As we are we have people pitting now. Truex and Kenseth down pit road. Truex and Kenseth make their way for pit road here. They were running 2nd and 3rd. Can they overcut race leader Tony Stewart? And you saw at Charlotte how slow every other car is when you have this much of a tire advantage. But you also saw how much it can hurt later on, even if you're only on 2-lap older tire. Kenseth may get out ahead of the 1, maybe? Nah, I think the 1's gonna have him beat. There's Stewart coming down pit road. He had to cover this off. Truex out and away from pit road. Kenseth gets held up a little bit, but comes out behind him. And we got a crash. Caution flag is out for the first time tonight. And this hurts the people that just came down. What's the caution for? Was it because NASCAR? Oh, Jeff Burton went around. So something happened to the 31. 31 blow a tire? Yeah, 31 had a tire go flat, and you're gonna see it right here. Right here. About halfway down the back straightaway. So he is on the top side of the racetrack. Harvick checks up. He's trying to come to pit road and makes contact with the 14 of Sterling Marlin, bringing out the caution. And he had to get a tow back to pit road. But the pace car came and picked up Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards. So Marlin appeared to be the first one lap down at the time of the caution. He'll get the free pass. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the situation with people who had hit it under green there. It looks like they're going to let them go by. But here they come to pit road. Edwards seems to be having a slightly faster pit stop than Johnson here, so we'll see if he can get out ahead of the 48. And he does. He slows down a little bit, and there's problems in the pit road for the 48. He loses several positions. So the 14 of Marlin gets the free pass. Wherever he is, there he is. You can see him jumping out of line back there. So Truex will be your race leader. And this is where it gets interesting for Jeff Gordon. Because he could get back on the lead lap in theory on this restart, or on this stage caution. But if we see another caution, you know, they immediately wreck, like we saw at Charlotte last time out. Then things get a little weird, and he's trapped a lap down for another run. We're actually going to delay the restart because not everyone is in line. So we're going to still get some people to the back of the pack, and there we go. So we'll have about 2 laps to go on this stage. But also, Jeff Burton is back there, and he's only 1 lap down. So then, could the 31 of Burton go up there and get the free pass spot from Jeff Gordon? But Burton has to go through more cars. And he has a bit of damage there to the side. So here we go, we're going to have 2 laps to settle the stage. Truex trying to take home the stage win. And then you have people up there like McMurray who got lucky on strategy. Montoya up here in the top 5. Can he hang on long enough for some good stage points? Here we go, 2 to go, stage 1. Green flag back in the air. Truex got a good jump on Montoya, looking 3 wide for 3rd, and then 1 and 2. Edwards going to shoot through the middle. Mir is also going to get a good run off the top. Harvick going to look outside on Montoya now. But here comes Kane with Newman. Harvick's going to go way up to the wall. As they come to the white in stage number 1. Kenseth and Truex side by side for the stage for the race lead, and here comes Edwards up the middle again. Mears in the 25 going to look 3 wide here, but as they come through turn 3 and 4, it'll be Martin Truex Jr. who will take home the stage 1 victory here at Nashville. Truex over Kenseth, Edwards, Mears, Montoya, Johnson, Kane, Newman, Johnson, Boyer, Kane, and Obani. I think, yep, Jeff Gordon back on the lead lap. So now we get to watch the 24 climb through the field again. And everyone's gonna die for pit road here. It seems. Yep. Even though they've only run 2 green flag laps on these tires, they've still dropped off for 10th of a second. So we'll see how pit stops go here. And we'll take a look at the race off pit road from here at the pit lane cam. Oh, it's actually Ryan Newman who wins the race off pit road, ahead of Clint Boyer. Then you have Truex, Mears, Montoya, Edwards, Stewart, Kyle Busch, Kane, McMurray, Bonnie, Earnhardt Jr., Johnson, Blaney, Biffle, Gilliland, Swenson, Harvick, Kenseth, Riggs, and then you see the rest of them coming off pit road. With bad pit stop. Jeff Gordon gonna come off pit road here and take the wave around, which will put him on the lead lap. And we should be able to get the restart on the first try because there's not many lap cars towards the front of this one. But Ryan Newman will lead the field back to the green for stage 2, now racing to lap 92. And could this lead to Jeff Gordon's first win of the season? Because you saw at Charlotte how Jimmy Johnson had pit issues, worked his way onto the lead lap, and was in contention again. We'll see as the green flag flies again. Newman leads him across the stride. Boyer trying to take the race lead away as they run side by side through 1 and 2. And that 07 car is going to clear for the race lead down the back straightaway. Great move by the 07 car as Mears looks inside on Truex for third. And takes it, and Montoya battling for fourth. So Boyer leads him across the stride, who looks down low on 1 and 2, trying to pull the same move, but here comes the 25 of Mears to the race lead. Mears shoots out to the race lead here in Nashville. And that was a great free wide move by the 25 of Casey Mears. He holds the lead into turn 3 and 4. That's caution in the middle of the pit cycle really shook everyone up. And that's why you see the 25 now up here leading the race. Way up the racetrack here in 1 and 2 as you see Montoya right against the fence. Stewart can't make anything happen, and Boyer's looking for a move on Newman. Newman slid up the racetrack a little bit. That's going to let Edwards by as well. And we look back for the field to the progress of Jeff Gordon, who is running in about 32nd. Busch all over his back bumper. Track position so important here at Nashville. It may be a while before we see that 24 car even towards the top 10. Strummy up towards the fence. He's trying to make something happen up there. As we continue down the front straightaway, look at Kyle Busch on the top side with Bobby O'Bonney battling for the 6th spot. And Edwards has gotten into 2nd spot. He's been in 2nd spot, I mean. But there's Clint Boyer, who has gotten by Brian Newman as well. Nick Murray trying to make that high side run to get by Bobby O'Bonney in the 43 here. And about Jeff Gordon, he is all the way up to 25th, maybe even higher. No, 25th, since the last time we talked about him. You know, we said he was struggling and all, and there he is. There's Denny Hamlin in the 11. Trying to find a way around Reed Sorensen and David Gillen. Hamlin didn't really keep competitive last week. You know, he was battling for the race lead in the early stages, but got caught up in that accident in turn 3 and 4 in the middle of stage number 3. I mean, stage number 2. And look at Jeff Gordon making it 3 wide. Hamlin's thinking, where'd you come from? Hamlin again against the wall, but Sorensen blocks his run. Because Sorensen had the same thing planned. And now Sorensen may be able to clear the 24 of Gordon and the 38 of Gilliland here in the 1 and 2. So I'm going to make the very bold prediction and say that Jeff Gordon is going to drive up to the top 10 by the end of stage 2, because he's in the top 20 now. I think he might make it to the top 5 actually. But Mears has been run down by Carl Edwards for the race lead. With just about 100 laps to go, 101 at the stripe. He goes up the racetrack. Edwards to his inside. Can he make the top side work for 3 and 4? Mears on the outside, Edwards on the inside. As they head side by side through the corner, the 25 is going to have the run down the front straightaway, but it's Edwards who clears for the race lead. But Mears is still going to try that outside line. Here for 1 and 2, but he just slides up the racetrack a little bit. And that solidifies Edwards into the race lead. Now can Mears come back at him. And there's Johnson after getting buried in the pack early on. He is back up towards the top 5, about to make a move on Clint Boyer for 5th. Mears is not letting Edwards get away, and he's going to look inside for the race lead in turn 1. But Edwards has the top side. Can he make it work this time? Yes, he can. Mears still has a nose inside, though. Edwards clears the 25 car. And Johnson's up into the top 5. As they go through 1 and 2 again, Edwards just a little bit lower than the 25 of Mears, who slides up again. His car clearly isn't good enough at the moment to be running that upper lane in 1 and 2. But even on these old tires for 3 and 4, you're able to get a bit of a run still. Even when they're completely worn out like they were towards that pit cycle. Truex Jr. and Johnson battling side by side. Truex won stage 1. But Johnson's going to be right there. Kenseth's going to dive 3 wide. Kenseth gets low on Johnson, trying to take the 5th spot away, and does. Now he's going to be side by side with Martin Truex Jr., who shuts the door on him. And Edwards, as you see in the distance, starting to scoot away from the 25 of Casey Mears. Truex up the hill. That 25 car looked really good at the start of the season, but he's fallen off a considerable amount. But this could be the rejuvenation that he needs, just leading those few laps. So next time out we go to Michigan and then Pocono. And then I know San Diego in real life is after that, but as I'm recording this, there is not a San Diego track for nr2003 at the moment, so unless someone takes that, we'll be going elsewhere for that race as well. But, they're about to get in the lap traffic here. Mears actually gained some of his time back that lap. Kenseth, who got buried in traffic, he was on pit road under green during one of those pit cycles, and he's been climbing his way back through the field. Let's take a look at Jeff Gordon, who is up to 14th. So I think the 24 might be a threat for this race when Jeff Burton, right there in 37th, he's the first car one lap down if we were to get another caution, which could be possible. But the last thing he needs is for Edwards to lap Marlin, and since I have to use the bathroom, we're going to crank it up. Thank you for listening to Crank It Up. Now, as we get closer to the next pit stop, so about 10 or so laps away, I'd say, maybe a little less. But Edwards has got Mears by 1.3 seconds, Kenseth in third, Johnson fourth, Newman fifth, Harvick sixth. Dale Jr. currently running 10th. Gordon and Burton. Burton isn't on the lead lap, but he is flying through this field. I guess he's making a practice run for when he gets back on the lead lap. But Allmendinger has gone a second lap down. The next car ahead of Burton would be Sterling Marlin, who is about to get lapped by Carl Edwards. Marlin was the car who got the free pass when Jeff Burton originally went around, brought out that yellow towards the end of stage 1. Mears continuing to lose time. Kenseth also lost a little bit of time that lap. But Mears seems to have a good car on fresh tires, so if we get a shootout to the end of this race, don't count out that 25 car. We're going to be one-stopping again here in stage number 2. Stage number 3. Every stage is a one-stop. But some guys may two-stop it. I guess it just really depends on when you come down pit road. Because those first pit stops began around the lap 30, and let's see, I'm trying to mentally calculate how long this final stage is going to be. I think this final stage goes about 57 laps, so yeah, you might actually see some people two-stop the final stage. I don't know how that would work out for them because they'd be pitting with like 3 to go. But, power to them, I guess, if they can make it work. Or that may be the strategy to go with. But I guess we'll really get a glance of what strategy they're going to do when we get these pit stops here before the end of stage number 2. Mir is now 2 seconds back, about 1.7 ahead of Kenseth and Johnson. And Jeff Gordon has gotten to the top 10. I just saw that 24 jump up in the P10. And they have fallen off 3 seconds on these tires. So these guys want to get the pit road as soon as possible. Yaley putting pressure on Jeff Gordon. Now Vickers is the first car a lap down. So Burton's going to have to go to work. And obviously we're going to be coming up on 20 laps to the stage end. Does anyone go for pit road early and try to build a massive lead? Burton's coming down. This is more for his strategy. JJ Yaley's coming down. Jeff Gordon in the 24 is coming down. Burton can throw tires on and easily have the lead, the free pass right in his hands. But this may get the 24 the race lead with how much worse these older tires are. As you see the 31 and 18 getting their tires. Gordon's going to come out behind JJ Yaley, so that 18 may be the provisional race leader. And they're going to come out into a relatively good pocket of clean air. But they gotta watch out for these guys coming to pit road. And there's Yaley and Gordon. Where's Edwards? Already off pit road. So it wasn't really a net gain for Yaley or Gordon. As you see everyone down pit road again. And we'll see how this shakes up the battle for the free pass. Where's Greg Biffle at? There's Biffle off pit road. So Biffle pitted a few laps later, maybe to try to have some better tire at the end of the run. Because we got about 20 laps to the stage end. But it's Edwards who is retaking the race lead. Now Kyle Petty is the first car lap down. That was a bit of a net gain because JJ Yaley is up into 5th, but him and Gordon pitted earlier, the earliest of everyone else. There's the car that Burton needs to be chasing, the 45 of Petty. Now it's the 70 of Sauter, and soon it'll be the 66 of Jeff Green. So Edwards is trying to pin as many cars as he can a lap down, but David Gillen is on 6 seconds up the road, and what spot is he in? 25th? So Burton's really gotta just step on the gas here. Because he was really quick there as the tires were wearing out. Obviously, Burton would be about 5 seconds behind Carl Edwards. But he's gonna make quick work of these lap cars. There he goes past Kevin Page in the 37 car. And he can't afford to get racing with these guys for a long period of time. So now he's chasing after David Reagan. He's about half a second faster than the 45 of Petty right here. David Stremme, who had a great qualifying effort, is now a lap down. And Gilliland is losing about a second a lap. So with that in mind, they're running 28s right now, so in 5 laps Edwards will beat a Gilliland. So Burton needs to go past all of these lap cars ahead of him in 5 laps to solely focus on David Gilliland. But when Edwards gets up to Gilliland, he's going to catch Sadler as well, and then Raines, and then Sorensen. So you keep that in mind as we watch the interval between Gilliland and Edwards here on the ticket. And Burton still has his side damage from his incident with Sterling Marlin earlier, so I think Gilliland will be hitting the line about now. Yeah, Gilliland is actually only losing about a 1/10 of a second per lap. So Burton needs to go while he can, because when these tires fall off, Edwards is going to be much better than these back markers. But he's caught Stremme. Only caution 4 cars tonight has been for Jeff Burton when he blew his tire and tried to come to pit road and got hit by Sterling Marlin in 14. Now he gets by David Stremme in 40. Next target, Johnny Sauter in the 70 car. And Gilliland taking the line about now 24 seconds back. So will Edwards get there? He's chasing after the 66 of Jeff Green. 2 cars between him and that. Sauter the next up. Burton ran a 28.7, Sauter ran a 28.9, but Sauter got up the hill there in 1 and 2. It'll be close, I think. Probably not, actually. But then, assuming he does get the free pass, Burton gets to do this whole driving through the field thing a second time, because he'll be, again, assuming David Gilliland doesn't get lapped, he'll be in 27th. And you'll probably not see someone race as hard for 27 as Jeff Burton is right now. 25 seconds the gap. Edwards is trying to 28, so he may get to Gilliland. So Burton needs to go. He gets past Sauter in the 70. And that was crucial. But he's going to get held up by the 84. He's going to dive low down the front straightaway. Now his sights fully set on the 66 of Green, who is a little bit up the road. There's Gilliland, there's Edwards. But Sauter has just driven back underneath Jeff Burton, and now Burton's going to get held up by Burton. So now has Jeff Burton burnt up his tires so hard that he's now going to give up the time that he had just worked so hard to gain. Had to be some sort of a mistake there out of the 31. But he needs to realize the 24 is not for position right now. He might be later if you get back on the lead lap, but right now he is not. closing in on the end of stage number 2. Edwards catching Tony Raines. So this may be all for nothing if Edwards just laps the 96. Right now the 66, the car that the 31 needs to go get. Raines 29.6, Edwards 29.2. So Raines has about 2 seconds to Edwards, and Burton's hoping that he hangs on to those 2 seconds. Because Jeff Green's just up the road. Lap 92 will be the last lap of the stage. There's Edwards, there's Tony Raines in the 96. And Gordon is basically opening every door for Jeff Burton. He's going to put David Reagan on the outside now. And Edwards has put Raines a lap down. So this is going to be all for nothing for Jeff Burton. And it could be all for nothing for Tony Raines if Edwards goes and gets David Gilliland, and then Palmenard is already lapped. He's running 35th. Blaney should stay on the leader lap. Now Raines is hoping Edwards doesn't put David Gilliland a lap down. Gilliland won this season's 500. Had a bit of a streak of crashing there at the start of the season. It was like every time we saw him, it was, oh, Bernie of Gilliland involved. But he's established himself as a midfielder. He's trying to make the chase, which I think he could do with a couple of the runs needed here during the summer. But right now he's just trying not to get lapped, which I think he's about to. He just slid way up the hill off 2, and Edwards is going to say thank you very much. I'll put you a lap down too, and I'll go by with the 5-second lead that I have over teammate Matt Kenseth. So there's Burton, who thinks he's racing the 60, who thought he was going to be racing the 66 car. Coming to the white flag in stage number 2. We are on the white flag of stage number 2, sorry. Edwards has driven off to a 5-second lead over Matt Kenseth, his teammate, as he comes through 1 and 2 for the final time. Now down the back straightaway for the final time in stage number 2. And Carl Edwards is going to come from 3 and 4 commandingly and win stage number 2 here in Nashville. Edwards wins stage 2. So it's Edwards over Kenseth, Johnson, Mears, Gordon, Harvick, Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Yaley, and Tony Stewart. Martin Truex Jr. does not even get a stage point here in stage number 2. And Jeff Burton comes up 2 spots short of the free pass. The field now going to come down pit road here for tires, and Edwards has such a large gap, and I think it won't matter for him. Gilliland is going to stay out. So Gilliland stays out. I don't know if the lap cars are just going to come down next time by, but Gilliland goes ahead and gets his free pass away from, because I don't want to mistakenly put people back on the lead lap if that's the case. But if they're staying out, then interesting strategy. I mean, anything to get back on the lead lap, I guess. Edwards came down with still a 3-second lead when they hit the line. Gave a little bit of that gap back when he came down pit road, but I don't think it'll be much of a contest here. Edwards comes off pit road with the race lead and the shock of no one. Yep, here comes all of the lap cars now to pit road. None of them will be taking the wave around. So 25 cars on the lead lap for this final stage. There's Gillen coming off the pit road. So they pitted there on lap 94. And then let's see. So they'll be pitting around lap 131. Some of them may come down again, depending on when they pit. Actually, 127 is a more reliable lap to say. And then, if they do pit on a lap 127, they'll be 14 laps to the good. So I think everyone here is actually going to one stop again. I think the pace car lights just went out. Yeah, because all these guys are going around getting their spots. Gillen's going to dive on the apron and take his position. And luckily for David Gillen right now, he can't do any worse than 25th. So Edwards and Kenseth, Jeff Gordon now in the mix. You saw Jeff Gordon has fought for the field all day. He had an oil leak, as the game told us, on lap number 5, I think it was, bringing him down pit road. And now he has a chance to win it. Jumping back to the green flag. Green flag back in the air. Carl Edwards leads him into turn number 1. Edwards ahead of Kenseth as Gordon goes for 3rd. Down the back straightaway they go. And now Gordon and Spears up the racetrack. Here comes Johnson. Matt Kenseth has the pit. Kenseth the pit road from 2nd. Something's gone wrong on the 17 car. Maybe a flat. And he's gonna lose a lap from this. So now Kenseth's gonna be looking for a caution. But for Kenseth, this happens under green. I think he's already come back off pit road. There's Kenseth. So he's gonna be behind all of these guys. Look at them, 3 wide right here for like last place. Yeah, he's gonna be behind the 34th place car. Victor's way up the racetrack here. So Kenseth may be out of contention to win after a sudden issue, and now Edwards is being run down by the 200 cars of Gordon and Johnson. Kurt Busch, who has made his way back through the field, trying to get to the lead, to the pole where he started. Fell back here in the middle portion of this race, but now he wants to go up there and win. Johnson looking low on teammate Gordon, but Gordon's going to shut the door, or try to. They're going to be side by side off turn number 2. It's wild how this race has gone. Edwards has been the dominant car. Edwards won at Texas a couple races ago. Just going for this top 10. Edwards has not. Johnson has. Mears has not. Harvick has not, I believe. I have bad memory recording this, but yeah, Harvick has not won. Boyer won a duel but hasn't won a points race. Kurt Busch, I don't think has won. JJ Yeley hasn't won. Stewart and Hamlin, though, have won races this season. And Stewart and Watkins going in that heartbreaker for Greg Biffle. Biffle would be a winner this season if he had just drove that final turn a little more conservatively. Right now, if we get a caution, Jeff Burton is going to be back in it. Matt Kenseth came into this race also as the points leader, so he'll take a hit. Well, not a huge hit, but he'll lose a couple points. It says second place, which I believe, as they run, is Tony Stewart, who is battling with JJ Yeley for the 8th spot. Yeley's had a good last couple of races. He got wrecked out early at Texas and Watkins Glen after his good run at Talladega. But then Dover makes the All-Star race. Charlotte's running pretty well until he gets wrecked. So it's bad luck for JJ Yeley in this 18, but he may have a night where he gets someone on his side. Johnson all over the back bumper of Jeff Gordon now. As he tries to get his teammate out of the way into turn 3 as they chase after Edwards. Harvick in 4th. Johnson low on Gordon again. Cannot get the run though through 1 and 2. They stay side by side, and Gordon's going to clear again. Drift slightly up the hill. Just teasing Johnson with that door open. Harvick's trying to close in. Now next up, Michigan, we could see a big crash there. We have not seen any DNFs tonight, which I think will be the first time we see that this season if it stays as is. 25th, 40 seconds lap down. Nobody else is 4 laps down of Dale Jarrett, so he's kind of just running around on his own little island out here. What are we thinking about? Wanting to go home, probably, because this race is pretty long. You know, we're running at half distance of what they run in real life in the Cup Series here at Nashville Superspeedway. But still chasing after Edwards. Harvick closing in on this battle, and Mears shuffled up the racetrack. Now here comes Kurt Busch with Boyer also into the battle. And I think Gordon is better than Edwards right now. Here he goes for the race lead. Jeff Gordon to the inside. He had enough of laying around behind the 99 car of Edwards, and now he takes a look for the race lead, and Gordon will take the lead here in Nashville as they come from 3 and 4, trying to get his first win of the season. Johnson gets ahead of Edwards as well. So will we see a Hendrick battle for the win, or will Kevin Harvick have anything to say about it? But Harvick needs to make quick work of Edwards if Edwards isn't able to hang with this top 2, because Kurt Busch is making his way up as well. as Mears continues to free fall for the order. Here's Johnson for the race lead on teammate Gordon. They're going to be side by side here for 1 and 2, but Gordon had to check up a little bit. Clears. Johnson to the race lead, trying to go 2 wins in a row. And Gordon luckily doesn't have any pressure from Edwards as Harvick looks low on the 99. And we're closing in on those final pit stops. Unless we get a caution, then they're going to pit again. Harvick makes his way past Edwards. And now Kurt Busch might get a look. You see Kurt Busch look low on the 99 car. Matt Kenseth seemingly has an alright car at the moment. He's running 29.5, and these guys in the lead are running about 29 flats. Let's see. Yeah, but Kenseth's buried in traffic. But things could get interesting if we get another caution, because then Matt Kenseth could be the detriment to Jeff Burton getting on the lead lap. And Burton is running around Earnhardt Jr. So the battle for the free pass will be Burton and Kenseth when Kenseth does get up there. But now Johnson's going to get into lap traffic. How much will this hurt him? And how much can Gordon close in the traffic? Nemechek going to block really low as he goes another lap down. And Harvick's got to get by Allmendinger quickly. Does. Now he needs to make quick work of Nemechek, which he will. And Edwards still trying to hang on. Harvick could maybe undercut this top 2 since I think he would be close enough to make an undercut happen. It didn't happen for Gordon and Yaley because they were sort of far back in the voting order in terms of the top 10. So lap 127 is when these guys are predicted to hit pit road. Let's see if that does come to fruition. As they go past the lap car, Sterling Marlin, and now Dale Jarrett's going to be 5 laps down. Here they go into turn 1. Gordon's going to try to use the lap car as a bigot. I think we got a caution. I thought I saw the yellow lights, but no, the lights are still green. 3 wide now. Johnson did he get by that lap car pretty quickly. That's going to open the door for Harvick as Gordon takes the race lead back. But now they've opened the door for Harvick, who's been chasing after them to get back to that Edwards and Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards. Now it's Johnson doing the chasing after Gordon. Jeff Gordon has not won yet this year. And we're halfway for the regular season. And this is what I think most people thought we would be seeing this season, is this 24 and this 48 battling for wins constantly. And here's Johnson beneath Gordon a second time. For the race lead, can Gordon get the runoff 4? 24 is going to hang high, while the 48 is going to clear. as they head through turn 1 and 2 again. Harvick now closing in on this battle. You see, they caught Kyle Petty there in the 45, and that allowed Harvick to drive up to them. So now put Kevin Harvick in this battle for the race lead. And his 29 car's Johnson slips up the hill. And Harvick cleared Petty just before Gordon got inside on the 48 car. So now Gordon's going to take the lead back. And Harvick may have a look at Johnson. 5 cars under pretty much a blanket for this race lead here. As we're approaching pit stops here at Nashville. Do not go anywhere. Burton's still holding on to that free pass at the moment. As Johnson gets out of the way, Gordon and Harvick are coming to pit road. Harvick dives for pit road with Jeff Gordon. Now, how long does Jimmy Johnson take to hit pit road? Yaley was the first one to bite with this strategy. He's been an earlier pitter this season. Here's Johnson and Edwards and Kurt Busch and Stewart coming to pit road. Gordon's going to get off ahead of Harvick. And crucially, gets out ahead of Hamlin, but Gordon got a massive lead off of pit road ahead of Harvick. And here's Yaley. He's going to go into provisionally second place. So now, Gordon with the lead, and it's going to be a huge advantage for the 24 car. Gordon's first, Yaley in second, and that was a great move by Jeff Gordon to come down pit road a lap earlier, and it's a disaster in the pits for Jimmy Johnson. As everyone now starts coming off pit road. Starts on pit road, including these lap cars, and now Gordon with a 2-second lead ahead of the 18 of Yaley. Obviously, these guys are going to be on a little bit fresher tire than this 24 and this 18 car. But how about Yaley? He'll probably need some luck here at the end to contend with the 24 for this race win. But still, how about him? And I think if he just gets caught up in some bad enough traffic, he'll hang on for this. He'll maybe have a challenge from this 18 car. We'll see. But Sauter just cost him a bunch of time that lap. He needs to get out of the way. And he does get out of the way for Yaley eventually. So Gordon's held up behind Stremme at the moment, who is going to be battling with Nemechek down this front straightaway. Gordon's going to be on the apron here towards turn 1. This lap car of Stremme tried to hold up Gordon for as long as he could, but couldn't quite do it for long. There's the 84 of AJ Allmendinger up into the wall. So some sort of issue for him. as the 24 would be coming around lap him here in the 1 and 2. 2.8 seconds. Back to Yaley now. 3.5 to Edwards. But Edwards is gaining on the 18 car. Yaley 3 seconds back now. And Yaley was towards that like 10th place range when he came down. So he was a bit behind that 24 car. So we just scroll through the field. And that gap continues to grow. Edwards still about 3.5. If he can get Yaley, I don't know if he can make up 3 seconds in 15 laps unless something catastrophic were to happen to Jeff Gordon. Again, Edwards gonna nudge Yaley up the hill. 3.8 seconds. As Edwards is gonna go by the 13 of Nemechek now after getting second away. But Gordon continues to put lap cars between himself and Edwards as he gets blocked by Dave Blaney in the 22. Edwards still about 3.8 back. Now Yaley 4 seconds back. But now Edwards has to go try to chase down Jeff Gordon for this race win. It's possible, but I don't think it'll happen without a caution. But he's gonna get this 96 right in the right spot. And he gained 3/10 that lap. So Edwards may have the faster car around here. But that could also be accredited to Jeff Gordon being in slower traffic, but Edwards was lapping the 96 of Reigns when he took that chunk of time out of Gordon, so let's see what it is across the line this time. Another 10th. And you see Vickers in the 83 got the wall. So Gordon ran a 28.74. Edwards ran a 28.66. And the tires won't fall off a ton here at the end. However, they're still going to be falling off. And again, Edwards with the run down the back straightaway on David Stremme to get around that lap car. And now let's see how the 83 of Vickers cooperates with Edwards. That 83 car is actually sliding around a good bit, so Edwards is going to get by him easily. And he still gains time doing this. Slowest car on the racetrack right here, the 44 car of Jarrett, so Edwards will have to go here by him. And does. So now Blaney only separates Edwards and Gordon. But Gordon will be reaching traffic soon. So these next few laps, we'll see how they compare in clean air. Both ran a 29 flat that last time by. As they come to 10 laps to go. Edwards lost just a chunk of time that lap, not much. But now he's going to have to find his way around Dave Blaney, this lap car, in the 22. Which could hold him up a good amount if he doesn't get him in the right spot. That 22 did block Edwards way down low. And that's going to cost him, what, 2/10? Yep. So Edwards lost 2/10 just from that. But now, they're both in clean air for now. But Gordon's about to be in some traffic. And Edwards not faster in clean air. There's Gilliland in the 38, Marlin in the 14. And how will Gordon catch these two? Not very well. And that'll probably cost him some time. Because he's not going to get the 14 into turn 1. That lost him half a second. So Edwards can gain when Gordon gets stuck in traffic. The problem is there's not much traffic for the 24 to get into. 6 laps to go. Edwards, 2.4 back now. Gordon ran to 29.8. Edwards ran to 29.3. But again, lap traffic is a huge factor out here. What can Edwards' teammate David Reagan do? Five to go. 2.2 the gap now. Edwards gets around Marlin. Now Gordon's going to get by David Reagan in the 6. Four to go. And he'll be an all-out fight from here, pretty much. But Edwards has to find his way around Gillen in the 38. Gillen, a Ford teammate to Carl Edwards, not acting like another Ford teammate to Carl Edwards right now, as he blocks him into the corner. That probably cost him a chunk of time. 1/10. 3 laps to go for Gordon, so unless something just catastrophic happens, he's got this one in the bag. As we continue to watch Carl Edwards. Gordon had an oil leak early on. Could that be lingering? Or has he got everything together now as he comes to 2 laps to go, and the last thing he wants to see is a caution before that white flag comes in the air? Coming around turn 2 with a lap and a half to go. Edwards probably not going to get the chance to lap his teammate David Reagan, as there are 22 cars on the lead lap here. And it'll probably stay that way. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Jeff Gordon, in the calmest race we've seen this season in terms of crashes, in a race where the whole field is going to be running at the checkered flag. Jeff Gordon comes off turn 2 for the final time. He was as low as last place. He's now come through the field with an amazing pit strategy, and coming through turn 3 and 4, Jeff Gordon, for the first time this season, will win at the Nashville Superspeedway. Gordon gets it done in Nashville. Edwards second, 1.8 back. He probably would have needed about like 20 more laps. Stewart, Hamlin, Truex Jr., Boyer, Johnson, Yaley, Harvick, and Kurt Busch. Your top 10.